We are live. Hey guys, this is Coach Arnie. It is the Going Solo Network, and this is WGSN in the Health, Love, and Life Show with me, Coach Arnie. And so make sure you get over there to the GoingSoloNetwork.com. Check out all the shows, and there's some of my contact information. You can also find me on all the different platforms. Real Coach Arnie on, how to get my brain here. Real Coach Arnie on TikTok and Twitter. Arnie Fonseca Jr. on LinkedIn and Facebook. Coach Arnie on Facebook as well. Coach Arnie F on Instagram. You can Google me at Arnie Fonseca Jr. You can also call me. There's my number there. Text me, ask me questions, and let me see if I can add some value to what you're doing. So yeah, there's our title tonight. This just came to me this past weekend because just had some people talk to me about it, and I was out of town. And just people were asking me, well, where do I start? Where do I start when we're talking about relationships? And I said, well, the best place to start is right where we're going to start tonight, and that's the 5 love languages. I also believe it's important to know a little bit about your personality, of yourself. See, to me, everything is about learning about you first, and then whoever you're dealing with. Now, the neat thing about Dr. Gary Chapman, and it's funny, I have so many of these books, and I've loaned them out. And so here's one of his 5 love languages. This is one for men. I also have audio books. When I'm going to make that offer, I'll share it now, but I'll also share it later as well. For those of you that want to have the audio book, which is the updated 5 love languages book, I will send that to you if you message me through any of the platforms. I'll shoot that over to you. It's a great audio book. I mean, it's just, if you're interested in dealing with people, then you need to read this book. It's just one of the tools. It's like if you're going to be a carpenter, you need a hammer, screwdriver, wrench, you need to have a saw. You need to have some tools in your toolbox. So if you're going to be a human being and living on this planet, you need to have some tools. You need to know how to communicate. I'm constantly talking to people that call me on the phone, and they never announce who they are. I'm going to sound like an old guy here. They never announce who they are. They never ask, they never ask if I'm available, or my wife or somebody. They're just kind of hanging on, waiting for me to say something. Now, some of those are robocalls, so I just don't listen to that. But when they're a real person, and I actually had a conversation with somebody tonight about it. It's like, gosh, whoever's teaching you this, they're not doing a very good job. Ask, introduce yourself. Ask if I'm available. Clear the time. Do you have a couple minutes? And then, do your thing. But if you're not even going to do that, why do I need to listen to you? So the key here is this. We have to learn about ourselves first, and then we can learn about others, and then we can communicate better with them, because we can share how to communicate better with us. Now we can have a conversation. And that's the key. See, the beautiful thing about this guy here, Dr. Gary Chapman, who wrote the original 5 love languages book, is that he has broken this thing down in so many different ways. I mean, if you go to the website, which is 5, the number 5, lovelanguages.com, he's got so many different books on, I've got a couple of them here on, and then my audio books on 5 love languages. I'll get it right tonight. On working with people, obviously communicating with people at work, with children, with teenagers, you name it, it's there. And just a smorgasbord of books. Now, what are these books all about? Well, they center around the 5 love languages. They center around the 5 love. Even when I was reviewing my men's book I had here tonight, they go through, he talks about things that are important to men, which is why this is a really good book. But I still think you should read the original 5 love languages first as your foundation. Then you can add these other books around it. And so this is a good book. And then they're all built around the same 5 love languages. Number 1, words of affirmation. We'll go into these. Number 2, quality time. Number 3, receiving gifts. Number 4, acts of service. Number 5, physical touch. Now, all of those have a distinct meaning, definition, but the main thing is, what do they mean to you? Because see, my love language is my love language. Your love language is your love language. It's how you interpret it. It's how it makes you feel. It's how you define it. Okay? Because once you know that, then you can communicate with me how to better talk to you. See, that's important, because my number one love language is words of affirmation or words of praise. And where that all came from was when I was a kid, before this book, 20, 30 years before this book was even written. 20 years, not that old. 20 years before this book was even written, maybe longer. I didn't get a lot of praise, especially from my dad. So I guess I was starving for this stuff. Didn't know it, but as I look back on my life, I did. So because you don't really cement your love language until you're probably 13, 14 years old, right in there. So where did all this come from? Well, it came from my teachers and coaches. Yes, my mom and especially my grandma. My grandma was like over the top. I can never do anything wrong. I tell people all the time, I could have been a mass murderer and my grandma wouldn't have cared because of her complete unconditional love. So I took everything she said with a grain of salt, because I was kind of like a kid in a candy store with her, because it was always compliments, and even when she did, I was still a kid and I would get myself in trouble, but even when I was in trouble with her, it was never really in trouble. So, what I'm trying to say here is I really didn't have to perform for her. It was a given. Somewhat with my mom too. My mom had some conditions on that, and so I got praise, but I never got it from my dad. So when I got it from teachers and coaches at school, man, that was powerful. It really made me feel good. It made me want to perform. And that can be a problem too, because we have what I call performance junkies. And because everything's about performance, you have to be careful here too, that we don't use it to manipulate. But it is my love language because it makes me feel so good. And words of affirmation are probably 50% of the population's love language. It may not be their number one, but it's most likely one or two, almost half the time. So just by complimenting somebody, you probably got a good shot of making an impression with somebody just by complimenting. And then once look in their eyes and you can see their reaction. Once it's something you need to remember when you're dealing with people, especially that person that they get a response for. Okay. Now, if it doesn't, it's probably not their main or their secondary love language, because we have two. And if you want, again, some more information here, send me a note, and I'll shoot you over a link as well to a free test you can do online for love languages, or just search it out. But just send me a link. I'll send you the free link and stuff. Send me a message. And you can test yourself. Okay. You can test yourself. You need to know this. Anybody in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship or just needing to know, this is important stuff, because look, we need to share with people how to communicate with us. Gosh, why are we so, it drives me nuts. We're so thick-skulled, and we assume that everybody's just going to figure this thing out. No, they're not. I'm not. And I teach this stuff. I want to know. So that I want to bring you value as fast as possible. So that's why Dr. Chapman's written so many different books for many different levels of individuals, work, couples, children, teenagers, young children, I said. Gosh, just a slew of stuff. So just go out and check that out as well. But so for me, that was the root when I started studying this about, 10, 12 years ago. And because it made me think, where did all this come from? And that's where it was. School, coaches, sports. It just came together. Bam, bam, bam. Now, the other one for me, my secondary, is quality time. And this is where people get a little mistaken as well. Because quality time is not like, we're both doing things that we enjoy. No, it could be, if that's the way you interpret it. It doesn't really matter. It's how you interpret it, how it makes you feel. See, for me, it's just spending time with somebody I care about. I mean, I could be literally on a bike ride with somebody and not saying a word. Let me give you an anecdotal story. I used to train really hard with my coach, who was a former world champion. We used to work out, and he had just moved to a new home near my house. It was kind of cool. So he moved. Well, actually, he moved first, and then I moved later. And we were like, not even 5 miles away, and I could literally ride my bike over there if I wanted to, and I did sometimes. And he had just moved in, and he was setting up his gyms, and so I'd go there in the afternoon and wake him up, and because he was working all day, he'd come home, take a nap, and I'd wake him up, and we'd go out and work out. And one day we were working out, and he set up the bars and stuff, and it was pretty primitive. And so we were doing a couple movements, and just two, maybe three things at one time. And every time we did a circuit, a little set, he'd go in his yard, because it had no grass, no pool. It was a new build, new house. And it's funny. And he would pick up a nail. He would pick up a nail that the construction guys would, and he'd put it on a bench. And this went on for about an hour and a half. We didn't even talk. We'd do a set, he'd pick up a nail. Do a set, pick up a nail. And I used to share this story a lot, and I call it the nail workout, because all I remember, the only thing I could ever hear was sweat hitting the bench or the ground, because it was so quiet. And all we were doing was working. And I had no idea how long it was going to go, when it was going to end. All I kept seeing was those nails getting lined up on that bench. But it was great. Look, I'm still talking about it. This was probably, 84, 36 years ago. 36 years ago, I'm still talking about it like it was yesterday. You know why? Because it was quality time with my coach. We didn't say a word. So Some people might say that's not quality time. Not too bad. That's not your quality time, but it's mine. So, so words of affirmation are usually for me, but it's very common. So since we did talk about quality time there, quality time is generally spending time with one person in any way that makes you feel good, and if you're spending quality time with somebody that it's not their love language, that's okay because it's yours. But remember, your goal is to figure out what theirs is so you can make it kind of mesh together. And I used, again, another story on how to make it work and turn a level 2 experience into a level 1 using love language. Because see, years ago when I was just starting my ultra running, I would go for a long workout on, let's say, a Saturday. And then my wife was pushing our son in a wheelchair for, 2-3 hours sometimes. I didn't feel like doing that after my workout. And so I had to think, okay, how's this going to work? See, her love language is acts of service, which we'll talk about here in a minute. So me doing her a favor and going with her on this long walk after I already had worked out would make her feel good. It's not my big deal, okay? But I thought, wait a minute. I'm going to spend 2 or 3 hours with her in the afternoon. That's cool. That was it. It didn't have to be 2 or 3 hours of conversation. It just had to be 2 or 3 hours. And when I first brought that up years ago, he said, that's not quality time. Says who? It was to me. Made me feel good. See? So quality time is what works for you if it makes you feel good. If you need to have one-on-one eye contact conversation with somebody for it to be quality time for you, perfect. That's what you need. You need to communicate that, though, to your partner or your friend. Because if you're just hanging out and it doesn't make you feel good and you wish you had conversation or you both were doing something that was interesting to yourself, to both of you, but if you're not communicating that, then does it really matter? The other person doesn't know. See? So quality time is my secondary love language. But I would say, here's my words of affirmation. Here's my quality time. It's below it. It's below it because I love spending time with people, but there's nothing in the world that charges me up more than a word of praise. Good job. Well done. I'm proud of you. Man, those things are that's gold to me. When I hear that stuff, bam, I will slay dragons. Okay. So let's take a look here before we take a break. Let's take a look at our next love language. And I think let's talk about acts of service. And then, we'll get through all of them. And then I'm going to come back and tell you some of the problems that I see. Acts of service. So obviously all these are pretty simple to figure out. Doing things for people. People, I was jumping ahead of myself. People doing things for me. So if acts of service is my love language, then when people do something for me, it's like, oh man, that feels so good. People do me a favor if they, guys, even answer a phone call, an email, maybe do something around the house, fix something, clean something, do an errand for me or you, or whoever it is. It's not my love language, but having things done for you. If your love language is acts of service, is what it's all about. That's your world. You eat that stuff up. That's candy for you. People doing you favors. Okay. That's a big one. So, hey guys, this is Coach Arnie, and we are going to take a short break. So hang on. This is the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network radio, TV, and podcast, the #1 internet singles talk network. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. And again, this is WGSN-DB Going Solo Network radio, TV, and podcast, the #1 internet singles talk network. And this is the Health, Love, and Life Show with me, Arnie Fonseca Jr. We are talking about the 5 love languages. We are talking about a simple strategy that I believe is the #1 thing to learn if you want to have a good relationship with somebody. Why? Because it's simple. And I think, as a communication expert, I think it's super important to communicate with people. Gosh, it drives me crazy. Something came up again. I love little stories, but something came up again tonight. I was doing some work on the computer, and our local power company was literally outside my house, because we live on a corner, and they shut off the power, probably in the area. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God. Because sometimes, I don't know enough, but I know that when my power goes out, it can fry your motherboard. And I've had people tell me that. And I go, you got to be kidding me. So, again, my wife wasn't happy either. So I went outside, and he was literally right behind my fence. And I go, hey, man, what's going on? He goes, oh, yeah, I had to turn it off. He goes, but I'll have it on in a minute. I go, hey, sometimes those things can cause a surge in your motherboard and can burn it out. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry. He goes, it'll be on in a second, but you can call the complaint thing or whatever, which I got the number for, but it doesn't matter. I mean, now granted, it might be a bit of work, but I don't know how they do it, but maybe knock on a couple doors and say, hey guys, we're going to turn off the power for about 10 minutes. And you might want to shut down some of your computers and stuff, back things up. Really? That's all you would have had to do. I mean, they all have our email addresses. They all have our phone numbers. They can do that. It's called communication. So why not? I would have been so happy if he would have said that. I'm telling you right now, if he would have knocked on my door, called me, and I would have said, man, I so appreciate you doing that. I will turn my computer down right now. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Okay? They don't do that. It's one thing if lightning knocks it out, but if it's a premeditated, we're just going to turn off your stuff right at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. What the heck is that all about? It's called communication. But the same thing happens with couples. Why did you do that? Why did you say that? Where have you been? Why don't you call me? Communication. With kids, same thing. I mean, I've seen parents that have no clue what's going on with their kids, and then they can't get together. So one parent is saying one thing, one parent saying the other thing, and the kid's just confused. And once that kid figures out his love language, and they will, those parents are going to be in trouble, because unless they're hitting that note, he's going to tune them out. Happens all the time. Because, see, parents want their child to, and they should, to conform to what they want, you know. And I tell kids, especially a little bit older, if you don't want to listen to mom and dad, don't take their money. But if you're younger, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, right there, you don't have a choice. Really. I mean, you do, but you don't. Okay. So communication, that's where this is so powerful. So far we've talked about words of affirmation, very, very popular. Quality time, as you define it. As you define it. Don't let anybody tell you what your quality time is. I hate that stuff. And then number 3 is acts of service, which is when people do things for you. Powerful, powerful stuff. So let's go to the next one. We're going to, that one is called gifts. This one's a bugaboo because there are people out there. This might be the smallest one as far as percentages of the population. But I knew this wasn't mine way before I learned this. I'd been married, and my mom was always giving me kind of crazy gifts, and I never got excited. But same thing happened when my wife would give me something too, like a nice jacket. Or it's like, oh, okay, thanks, appreciate it. It's like, but you could tell I wasn't like woo. Now there are certain things in my life that I go woo for because it's something I really wanted. Whether, especially today, if I'm doing ultra stuff and maybe a pair of shoes or something that I'm going to really, really use. I mean, I'm into that. Stuff that's going to sit around and be used once in a while, no big deal. But see, the gifts are not my love language, period. And it used to drive my mom crazy because she would do things for me and I wouldn't give her that woo. So it used to drive her nuts. I didn't know. I didn't understand it. Am I not normal? I don't feel something. So it was awkward, to say the least, for me. Very awkward. So, yeah, gifts are a tricky one because I think we all love gifts to a point, but I don't get excited by them. Some people get really excited by them. It's their love language. Chances are it's 1 or 2. I don't know if gifts are that prevalent as a number 1 overriding love language. Could be, but I would almost bet they're mostly secondary. Mostly. I'm just going to guess. But boy, I tell you what, if you find somebody that it's gifts is their love language, they will really respond to any kind of gift. They really will. They're going to eat it up. You know, they're going to eat it up. So powerful. So powerful. So there you go. So now gifts, which is, I think is kind of the tricky one, but it's real. It's real. So now let's talk about, we're on the 5th one now. 5th one. This one is, okay, we've done affirmation, quality time, acts of service, gifts, physical touch. This is when I first started studying this, you know, everybody's thinking, especially dudes, we're all going, yeah, mine's touch. And you find out it's like last. And so it's like last when you do the test. It may not always last, but it's definitely not 1 or 2. I have run into very few people that it's their number 1 love language. I have a lot of people that it's very high compared to the other 2, so it's close. It's close. And yeah, physical touch. Because to me, it's important, and I've become even more touch oriented in the last few years. You know, I'll give you a hug as soon as I see you. There's very few people I don't hug as soon as I see them, or at least go up to them and fist bump, hug, you know, whatever. And the same thing, when I say goodbye, I hug them. Men and women, but mostly men, because of today's craziness with Me Too and everything like that. So, but if the lady engages, I'll hug. So touch has become much more important to me, but I don't know if it's just because it makes me feel good, because it's definitely not my love languages at all, but it is for some people. And I know this, I've read enough relationship books that you go in and do a 4 to 6 second hug. It can be a deal maker for you. Deal maker. So touch is a big deal for some people. But again, it's all what you respond to. See, most people think that touch is all about sex. It's not. It can be. But again, you're going to have to express that to whoever you're with, that, hey, this is important to me on a regular basis, because it's how I feel. It's how I fill up my love bucket. Because see, what this is all about, guys, as we kind of round this thing out a little bit, this is about filling your love tank, we'll call it. That's because that's what Dr. Chapman uses. This is about filling your love tank. Because once we have full tanks, man, we're good to go. Now we can give away the overflow. See, if all that love is full, is overflowing in our life, we can give away the love to people. If our tank is half full and we're always looking to get it filled up through, for me, affirmation, words of praise, quality time, I might go out and do stupid stuff to get attention, to get somebody to say, hey, Arnie, that's really good, man. Wow. Woo. Because I'd be starving for that kind of love through affirmation. And same with quality time. If nobody wanted to spend time with me, I might do stupid stuff to get them to spend time with me, or beg. We don't want to beg. That's not love. Are you kidding me? So, but sometimes we settle, don't we? And you don't want to settle. If you are who you are, you're genuine, you love people, your truth is yourself. Be yourself, and you will attract into your life what you need to attract. It's pretty simple. So, so those are your five love languages here. Now, I want to take the last few minutes and go into some of the problems, okay? Because the benefits are, if I know your love language and you know mine, we can talk. We can communicate if we're willing to use them. If we're not, then I'm talking to you in Chinese and you're talking to me in Arabic. Nice conversation, right? No. But if I'm speaking to you the way you want to be spoken to, you're speaking to me the way I want to be spoken to, we have a chance to go to the next level as far as the relationship goes. Okay? So, what's the biggest flaw with love languages? Here it is. When I expect you to have the same love language as me, or respond the way that I respond to my love language. So let's take words of praise. Hey, Arnie, great job. Hey, Arnie, that's a cool looking shirt you're wearing. Arnie, I love your shoes, man. Where'd you get those shoes at? You look great. Hey, Arnie, it looks like you've lost weight. You look great. Compliment, affirmation, compliment, praise. That's like heroin to me. I'm filling up. I want that stuff. See, I want more of it. I'm going back for more. What did I do to get that? Let's see. I worked hard. I persevered. I did this. I did that. Or I did well on a test. I read the book. I studied hard. People came to me. I got compliments. I'm doing that right now with a company I was doing some part-time work with. And the owner came to me a couple of days ago and said, man, and I don't even feel like I've done a lot, but I know I have a certain skill set. And he was just complimentary and this and that and wants me to do more and have a bigger part of the company. I'm thinking, wow, this guy noticed and praised me. Even at my age, I ate that up. Like I think I'm 15 years older than this guy. And he praised me. It made me feel great. Like, wow, he noticed that. You know, it's a big deal when it's words of affirmation and somebody picks it out. Look, it's easy to pick out some crap you're doing today. Who cares? That's dime a dozen. You know, if somebody picks out something I'm doing and criticizes me, you know, at my age, you know what I do? Tune you out. Now, if it's something I know I did wrong and I want to learn and correct and move forward, I want to hear about it. How can I fix that? Didn't know about that. Let me work on it. I'll take care of it. Thank you. I appreciate your help. Get it? But if someone's just nitpicking, just to push my buttons, I'm moving on fast as possible. Because you don't need to be around that, do you? How does it make you feel? Especially if you've done something that you thought was pretty good. You know, you did pretty good. Maybe as a project at work, you did pretty good. You finished it, made it look great. And somebody comes and says, hey, Jimmy, where'd you get that stupid pen? It looks ridiculous. And you're going, what are you talking about? Because they're focused on a stupid pen when you just created an amazing project. Go figure that one out, right? Go figure that. Because all you needed to hear was, hey, Jim, nice work on that project. You'd have been like, whoa, man, this is awesome. See, this is awesome. So words of praise is, like I said, most common. But remember, it's not about what works for you. It's what works for them, which is why yours has to be addressed first, meaning not with that other person, but with yourself. So if you know that words of praise are yours, you need to make sure that you're in situations where you're getting praise. And you let people know that, hey, I really love it, man. Don't worry about taking me out to lunch, man. Sometimes just say thanks for helping me out or compliment me on my work or something like that. Man, I love that stuff. Hey, Jim, thanks for telling me that. It's a lot cheaper than a ribeye, right? So, yeah. So don't be so quick to make sure that other people accept your love language as well. For them, doesn't work that way. What works is you share yours, they share theirs, and you bring it together. You bring it together. See, it's pretty simple. So don't expect others to respond the same way that you respond to you. You need to put on that detective hat. Oh, I had my cap here a minute ago. You need to put on that detective hat, and you need to, if you're in a relationship with somebody, business, kids, spouses, girlfriends, boyfriends, you need to put on your detective's cap and figure out what these people are all about. It's your job. Okay. On the other side of that, it's your job to explain it to people. Now, in a perfect world, you'd be fighting about it. You'd be going, no, it's my turn. No, it's my turn. No, it's my turn. Meaning my turn to compliment, my turn to whatever your love language is, fulfill that. Or you can figure out what I did years ago and combine it. Do something like do an act of service for somebody because it makes you feel good because it's quality time. See, compliment somebody. Okay. Compliment them if it's their love language. And maybe they'll compliment you. Or maybe they'll spend more time with you if it's quality time. It's their love language. It's your love language. Theirs is words of praise. You praise them. They want to spend more time with you. Bam. See how it works? It's really pretty slick if you work it. But this all takes patience and learning, understanding, know who you are, so you can share with other people. This is the real value of what Dr. Chapman has done these last 30 years or so by writing these books at all different levels with all different kind of people, because it works. And so let's review. First of all, go to the number 5, lovelanguages.com, and you can see all Dr. Chapman's work and all the different books and things that he's doing. I think you should start off with the just the basic 5 love languages book, and you can get a hold of me, and I will definitely send you a copy, audio book of that book. It's improved, new and improved. So it's really good. So that's the first thing you need to do. And you can also send me a note, and I will send you a link to a test. You test yourself. It takes about 20 minutes or longer, depending on how much thought you put into it. But it'll take a few minutes, and then you can know for yourself. Then you can start sharing it with people. Don't keep it a secret. Tell people, hey, look, I really respond when you do me favors. When you come around to my desk every day and ask me to take the trash out or do some other, whatever, or if I need any help, I love that stuff. I love it. When you compliment me on the work I'm doing, or when you compliment me at home and for working on all the different things that I do, boy, I really feel good when you do that. You know, when you bought me that, or excuse me, when you spent that time with me before we worked or before we did this, or when we worked together, how special it was that we had offices that were close by. I mean, I really enjoy lunch and do things that we did together. You know, that active quality time is so powerful, so powerful. And then, you know, when we, let's see, wrong gifts. When you bought me that watch, or you got me the tickets to the movie or the concert, man, that really made my day. It was just a phenomenal thing. You know, it's a big deal. People will do that once they know it's your love language, because it's easy, because they know you're going to respond to their giving, and that makes them feel good. See, because they're giving you a gift, because they know it's your love language. Now, if your love language is touch, that can be anything from a hand on the shoulder, a 4 to 6 second hug. It could be intimate touch. It could be at work. You got to be careful. That's why I read the book, 5 Love Languages at Work. It could be a touch. Whenever I do a workshop and I'm walking around, I might get my hand right here and go, do you mind if I put my hand on your shoulder? Because I like to touch people in my workshops. And yeah, so then they'll ask you, you know, if this is your love language, and now it's up to you to use their love language. And they may try to use their love language on you. You can correct them and say, hey, look, my love language is this. So if you want to use that, I respond a lot faster. But you got to tell them, because they don't know. They don't study this stuff. You do. So if somebody's doing well with acts of service, quality time, they're going to do it for other people. And they're going to get really hurt if they don't get the response they want from people. They're going to get really hurt. Okay? So avoid that. And just educate those around you what your love languages are. All right, guys. I could talk about this stuff all day long. And so we gave you a couple strategies there on how to work with love languages. I've given you access to me to get that book, the audio book, where you can go to the website, or I'll just do a plug here. You can go to Amazon and get it from there. Just Google it, and you can get access to all his books, all his wonderful work, Dr. Gary Chapman. And Yeah, makes a difference. If you're struggling right now in your relationship, strip it down and add in the big stuff. Communication. Add in the big stuff. Communication. So powerful. All right, guys. Hey, this is Coach Arnie. This is the Health, Love, and Life Show. I appreciate you, and I look forward to being back here next week. Make sure you go to the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio, TV, and podcast. #1 Internet Singles Talk Network. And you will learn lots of good things for you. And next week when I'm doing this, I'm going to be, I don't know, hopefully, because I'm going to be going to the Grand Canyon the next day. So, yeah, it could be interesting. Maybe I'll do a show on that. So here we go. I love you guys. And this is Coach Arnie. I hope you're having a great day when you watch this and an even better day the next day. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.